Just loving that funk groove is gone. Welcome to the show right here on Shaw TV. My name is Matt Carter. Welcome to episode number 134, 18th episode of season 6. Our musical guests right in behind us right now. We're going to welcome the piano man, Marty Steele, back to the Shaw TV studio. The man of steel is quite the super musician. We're going to hear some more of his music and have a chat later on this hour. Also coming up on the show, we're going to talk about organ donation. And we're going to meet someone who's advocating for the support of caregivers of those receiving organ donations, as well as someone who's currently on the wait list to get a double lung transplant. Very powerful stuff. We'll let you know about some market vendors. They are taking over the street for the outdoor My Street Market in South Nanaimo later on this month. Find out when and where you're ready to hit the street and shop local. We're also going to look at a second initiative in the south end of Nanaimo by meeting representatives of a community group who, in addition to doing all sorts of great past community services, are putting on a barbecue for the city's homeless. That's taking place in June. We're also going to have a story time segment on today's show as we welcome a published Nanaimo author to our studios to tell us about her books and to share one of her stories with us. Also, now we know about looking for reviews on restaurants, hotels, movies. What about reviews for medicine? There's actually a pharmacy in Nanaimo doing just that, and as part of our recurring Seniors Connect series, we're going to find out the where, when, and how, and the value, of course, of those reviews. But first, if your idea of a four-step health program is to 1, grill the hot dog, 2, eat the hot dog, 3, find the fridge, and 4, drink your roommate's beer, well, we've actually got a 4-step program with considerably more health benefits to you, so make sure to stick tuned for that. So let's catch up on local happenings and relish all that's happening in the community. It's the show right here on Shaw TV.
Wondered what these numbers stand for, 5210 or 5210. It's a program, a new program that's just been started this year in cooperation between the Regional District of Nanaimo, the Island Health, and Parks and Recreation. I have with me the coordinator, Jennifer Coburn. Jennifer, can you tell me a little bit about what these numbers, this countdown stands for?
So there are 4 simple guidelines to help you live an overall healthy lifestyle. So 5 means consume 5 or more vegetables and fruit a day. 2 is no more than 2 hours of recreational screen time a day. 1, play actively for at least 1 hour every day. And 0, consume 0 sugar-sweetened drinks.
Okay, we're going to talk about the sugar-sweetened drinks later. What's the program involved right now? And you make presentations throughout the city?
Yes. So we want to reach as many age groups as we can and a variety of populations. So currently we are doing presentations with the Boys and Girls Club, 6 elementary schools, which include Bayview Elementary, Forest Park, Randerson Ridge, Cinnabar, Chase River, and Mountain View. We have a number of activities through Parks and Rec. So we're doing an early years program with children 0 to 6 with their families. We're doing Harbor City Seniors, Tillicum Lelam Aboriginal Center, and After School Kids Club.
So you're working with all age groups. It's really not limited to any age group. It's really from about 4 or 3 right up to 50,
plus.
65 plus. What have you found? Obviously, because of this, or because the program even exists, people aren't adhering to these guidelines. Mm-hmm. And if right now at this time of year, vegetables, the 5 servings of vegetables per day, it's a little tough to do with the cost of imported vegetables right now.
Yeah, so when we go into the schools or different communities, when we're speaking to parents, individuals, families, children, seniors, what we really want to make clear is that there are options to get those 5 vegetables and fruit, whether that's through frozen fruit and vegetables, has the same nutritionist value, local farmers markets from farmers themselves, as well as for promoting Nanaimo loaves and fishes. This is a great opportunity for any families that feel that they cannot meet those 5 vegetables and fruit a day. They can go to Nanaimo Loaves and Fishes. You just have to be a resident of Nanaimo, and you can get those for free.
Good. So there certainly are, and actually we're moving into a season where people can grow their own vegetables as well.
That too, yeah.
Good. Now, 2 hours of screen time, no more than 2 recreational. That's aside from the school work.
Yeah, we understand that everyone's going to be in front of their screens for school or for work. So outside of that, you probably don't need those 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours of video games or Netflix.
And if you don't do that, you may be able to do the other thing, which is 1 hour of active play,
Yes.
out for a walk, out for a run,
Yep.
out and play some games.
Go bowling, hiking, tons of things that you can do with families or just by yourself.
Okay, now let's talk about the zero part, zero sugary drinks.
Favorite part. So we have a couple examples up here of the average person's favorite drink. So we have Powerade, Coke, apple juice, Rockstar energy drinks for those long days, vitamin water, a Frappuccino from Starbucks, and since it's summer, everyone loves a good daiquiri.
So, first of all, the main culprit, people might say, soda or pop. And I'm just looking at this. In this particular serving, there's 9.75 grams of sugar in one can. That's a lot of calories.
Yes.
That's a lot of, as well, a little bit of caffeine in there. But what might surprise people is how much sugar. Let's look at the one on the left, Powerade.
So Powerade, for the whole entire bottle, is 33 grams of sugar. So that works out to be 8 1/4 teaspoon. Now in each teaspoon, so 1 teaspoon actually equals 4 grams of sugar. And it also depends on the size of the drink. So this is 591 mils, whereas this, I believe, is 355.
So you pull a serving, you buy that off the shelf, you're getting way more sugar. People might think fruit drinks are more healthy. Sugar, okay, so in this bottle, there's 48 grams of sugar.
That's my favorite one. Most parents are actually really surprised that this has more sugar than the Coca-Cola. Yeah. The difference is that this is sugar from concentrate, so it obviously is better than the sugar from the Coke, which is high fructose glucose. However, what would be better than apple juice is to eat an apple or go with our default drink, water.
And water with a little bit of flavor from a natural fruit or lemon or
So
lime.
you can add raspberries, lemon, mint is a really good combination. We've done that in numerous schools with children and they love that.
What people don't realize, these energy drinks, kids are drinking these drinks.
Yeah, we today actually we were in an elementary school and numerous grade 7 students raised their hand and say, yep, we drink that all the time.
58 grams of sugar in that.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to skip all the way over to the end. So the adults, you don't get off scot-free. This is the most deadly item in terms of sugar. Let's look at what it's got. There's 44 grams of sugar in 120 milliliters of this.
Yes. So that's not even a cup. That's not even close to what you'd put in your drink.
All part of education. We realize there's sugary drinks all around us. The best thing, a little bit of flavored water, lemon, lime, but let's see that people limit that amount and get out and do some of that 1 hour of exercise each day. I'm going to throw it over to Matt Carter right now.
Thank you very, very much, Brian, and thank you, Jenna, for being here. I'm going to take the fact that there was no craft beer on that roster there, that it's a ringing endorsement for a healthy beverage, so I'm going to keep on that train anyways. All right, we're going to move actually from those very proactive steps you can take to improve your health and know about your health to the steps needed when it becomes necessary to, and noisy way to say this, when it becomes necessary to replace a part of your body. So we're going to talk about organ transplants right now, not only about the process, but about the aftercare needed for those who go through an organ transplant. So to speak with us today, very pleased to welcome Beth Campbell Duke, who we're going to call the transplant rogue, and also Wade Graham, who is, who knock on wood, hoping, expecting to get him a transplant here any day now. So welcome both of you here to the show on Shaw.
Great. Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
Beth, I've given you quite a title here off the top, the rogue transplant, so, or excuse, transplant rogue, sorry. Right. So what exactly is the transplant rogue, and tell us about the program involved with it.
Okay, well, Transplant Rogues was a name that we concocted. My husband is 1 year out from a double lung transplant like Wade's waiting for. And friends, when we were going through transplant, friends had asked us to put up a website or to put up a GoFundMe page. And so we threw up a website, attached it to our GoFundMe page. And one of the things we were selling was my husband's master's thesis that we published through Amazon. And it's called Rogues of the Road. So that's where we sort of blended those two together. But then we thought about, after we've done the fundraising and gone through that process, what do we want to be doing? And I think when Wade tells his story too, you'll see it's pretty common in the transplant community that people want to band together to help raise awareness within our communities about the importance of organ donation and signing up to the donor list. We want to be there to help each other out because people are ill, people are struggling. There's some financial issues around transplant that we hope to be able to help people with. And just now you've got a second chance at life. So that's that third part is live like your donor's watching and get to those bucket list items.
That's right. Yeah, so it's a great way to break that down. Yeah. So how is Tony doing now? A year after the transplant.
Yeah, he's doing well. Transplant isn't a cure. You're trading what they told us was a terminal disease. You don't get on the transplant waiting list because you're full of health and ready to go up Mount Everest. So people who are getting onto the transplant waiting list usually, well, they have a terminal illness where there's nothing else that can be done. And so you're trading that, for sure, terminal illness for what they call transplant disease, which is you're balancing, it's a more manageable disorder, but you're balancing rejection. So they suppress your immune system. So you're balancing rejection against infection. So that's kind of where we're at. Tony's doing well, except he's had some side effects from the anti-rejection meds. So his white cell counts have been low, and we're working on getting those up. So he's not allowed out of the house. I say he's not allowed in polite company until he gets his white cell count back up.
It's another reason again why we don't have him here today. But
that's right.
But then obviously again, one of your big things about the total transplant growth system is obviously then your experience as well, effectively right. as a caregiver, and seeing it can be tough in some stages. In other stages, we talked off air about there being a great community of folks
right.
who support for transplant donors. Speak a little bit about
right.
that.
Well, I think caregiving is, especially in transplant, it's a whole thing unto itself. So in order to get listed for transplant, anybody who is going through the transplant process has to have a caregiver. I actually had to sign a legal document saying I would be his caregiver and I would be with him for the surgery and for the post-transplant follow-up period in Vancouver, which is 4 to 6 months, potentially longer. So without a caregiver, people can't get listed. So that's one consideration. It's not just about the medical aspect of the transplant, but about family and social support too. So yeah, I think that's a big area. It's huge, and it's a big place where we kind of envision, it's kind of a big, hairy, audacious goal at this point because, you know, we're trying to get Tony's white cell count up right now, let alone do fundraising to help other rogues make it through the process. But yeah, in the long term, that's what we're hoping to do.
Let's speak to another rogue here as well. Over to Wade again. So obviously, Beth, you and Tony a year into the journey past the transplant. Wade, I hear you just got on the transplant list very recently. Is this true?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
after a year testing, yep. Mm-hmm. Took just about a year testing.
So let's give our viewers just a little bit of background to get into that. So I believe you were diagnosed with some sort of illness with your lungs back at the age of 4, correct?
Yeah. At the age of 4, I was diagnosed with a disease, IPH, idiopathic pulmonary hemociterosis. That's where the that's where the iron starts to accumulate in the lungs, and it turns them brown, and the alveoli start to bleed, and basically you're bleeding to death. It's quick, it's fast, and it's usually fatal. For some reason, I'm still here. I was doing experimental drugs back then in Shaughnessy when it first opened, and they say I'm very unique. Okay, but it's kind of caught up with me over the years now, and it's time to start looking in other directions.
Absolutely. Now you're on the list now for a double lung transplant. This goes through and it's a success. What do you want to do with your new lungs?
Well, there's so many things you can't even imagine. But everybody says walk, walk, walk. I've always wanted to swim. I want to scuba dive one day. Everybody has to have a bucket list. I've never been able to do that. It's been very, very difficult putting my head underwater, as you can imagine that. But
it shows the human side, right, of what healthy lungs can do, and something it's been really important to you to get to.
People know. In this past year, I have grown so much with people with transplants. I have volunteered my time, with BC transplants. I've signed people up. I've had people walk up to me and say, I've had heart transplant 9 years ago. Like, whoa. They look fine to me. People 4 years ago, lung transplant. I've got 3 friends here in town that have had lung transplant. I've got another friend here too. He was signed up for lung transplant the same as me last week. So it's not that uncommon.
Perfect. All right, powerful stuff. We have to move on here really quick, but I want to say a couple quick things before we move on. I know there is a program in Europe and other countries called the opt-out program, where here you have to sign up for organ donation. Other countries, you're mandatory on that and you have to opt out instead. And that's something you'd like to see here in Canada?
That would be fantastic. It's so hard. People do not go and sign up just like that. It's human nature. They don't do that. We get out there and we canvass. We try to get people to sign up, but you will never get 30 million people to sign up. So if we could actually reverse the policy, as of legal age, you are now an organ donor. If you do not want to be an organ donor, opt out. Nobody says you have to, or your family can reverse the decision. That would be a much better way. We would be saving thousands of lives. We would be saving a ton of money that could be used in other areas for transplant.
Perfect. All right, powerful stuff. Wade, Beth, thank you both for being here. I do want to mention, Wade, you do have a GoFundMe page out there. People can Google your name, look for that. Obviously, great support from the community for you, and obviously Beth as well, and the Transplant Rogue program as well.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
Can I say one thing?
yep, real quick.
Okay. Shelby, Webb, and Elaine Pellegrin, thank you very much. They've helped me very much financially. They put on a beer and burger in town here for me. They raised $4,544. Money means a lot.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Powerful stuff. Again, to all the folks who have been involved with Organ Donation, thank you, and thank you both for your efforts as well. All right, so we're going to move on now to a musical interlude. Throw it back to our piano man, Marty Steele, with a song for you called Dragonfly here on the show on Shaw TV.
Wonderful. Thank you, Marty Steele. That was great. And in 2015, a community organization came together. It's called My Street. They organized My Street, and this year they wanted to revitalize the South End plan, or further along the South End plan. This year they're going to be doing a market, and here to tell me all about it is Pam James. Welcome, Pam. You are the organizer for My Street.
That's right.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And I wanted to show the wonderful poster
Yes, this is it.
that
And
Pam brought.
really what My Street is all about is shopping in your neighborhood. It's as simple as that. It's what we want to do. We want to be able to get up in the morning, go out, grab a coffee,
Yep.
or an Eskimo donut from Karen's Authentic Native Panic. I bet you don't know what that is.
No.
Neither do I yet, but they're supposed to be really good. And originally we did the market on Nickel Street.
That's right, and
back
that was
in
about 2 years
2015.
ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And now we're keeping the idea alive of shopping in your neighborhood.
Yep.
And so we're having a market this year on Irwin Street. We're closing down the street to just allowing the bus to go through. And we're having vendors all along the street. Some of the vendors, they'll be everything from Eskimo donuts to bedding plants. And you can grab a coffee, have a croissant, and you can get an outfit at putting on the dog. And you
I
can-
know somebody who would love to do that, actually. That's
And-
great. Putting on the dog, is that what that is?
Yeah,
Putting on the
that's
dog?
consignment and vintage. And there'll be jewelry, there'll be essential oils, there'll
Now,
be.
Can you just give me a little bit about the background of My Street? Like, how did this all come about? I know it was about furthering the South End plan. So
Yes, it all
Can you
started-
give me a little bit of background on
Yeah,
that?
it
That'd
all
be great.
started with the neighborhood plan. The neighborhood plan promised that the Nickel Street between Esplanade and Milton
Yep.
would be our commercial high street. And so in 2010, the neighborhood plan was adopted by the city.
Which is
and
good,
it
yeah.
talked all about having commercial on the main level, on the street level, and accommodation above. And so we thought that, wow, one day there'll be coffee shops, cafes, restaurant, attractive street lighting, crosswalks, and all that sort of thing. And we'll be able to walk over to Nickel Street, which is less than a block from my house.
Which would be great.
Which would be awesome. Grab a coffee, grab a loaf of bread and some, whatever
Whatever
meat
you
at the
need,
butcher,
yep.
and head home again. But it didn't take off.
Right.
So some of my friends got together,
Yep.
and we decided we would make it like we want it for a day. So back in 2015, we did that for a day. We closed the curb lanes to traffic.
I remember that. I was there.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were there that day. And so we had parking in the curb lanes, and we had 2 crosswalks, and we had pop-up. We took over old commercial buildings
Yep.
that have been vacant for some time,
And it was
put
quite a
pop-up
success, too.
pop-up shops. Yes,
Yep.
there's a YouTube video.
Is there?
Yes,
Great.
and you can check that out. It was a good success, and a lot of people came out for it. I think it sort of captivated people's imaginations, and yeah.
And so this is the market now, the Artisan Fair.
Well, we're
Is
keeping.
that more to keep it going, keep it alive?
We're keeping the idea alive, and we'd like to do more urban renewal, urban revitalization. We'd like to potentially do a market in the downtown waterfront area, the site that was proposed for the multiplex.
That's right.
Which
I know
didn't
where that
happen.
is. That's right.
And or we would potentially like to do one on Commercial Street, because we feel that if we have a market downtown, it's going to bring people downtown to
Yeah,
shop.
definitely
Which
will.
will help the business downtown. Those business people downtown are pioneers.
They are.
So we'd like to help them out and get some more people down there to shop.
So if people want more information, how can they contact you?
Well, we have
other than the fair here.
Yeah,
which is May 27th, right?
we have a Facebook, so they
Okay,
can message
and what's
us
your
on-
Facebook page?
It's My Street.
It's facebook.com, My Street.
That's right. Yeah.
My Street in Nanaimo, or just My Street? Do
It's
you
just
know?
My Street.
Just My Street, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You can, if you go to Facebook and just search My Street, it'll come up. Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming onto the show today. I really appreciate it. And I think I'm going to come to this one.
Awesome.
And right now we are going to go over to the main set with Kerilie.
Thank you so much, Anna. That's wonderful. I hope people can get out to the My Street Market and have some fun at the My Street Market. Now, almost a year ago, I had a special guest on the show, Celestine Aleck from the Nanaimo First Nation. She's the interpreter and tour guide, and she's also an author and storyteller. And I wanted to have her back. I told her last time that we'd have her back to tell a story, and she's here to tell us a wonderful story from her book on Strong Nations Publishing called The Great Blanket of Moss. So Celestine, welcome, and take it away.
Thank you. Long ago, there was a time when the trees were so great and tall, it would hurt your neck to look to the tops. They were like the keepers of the earth. They sheltered us from the wind, from the rain, from the heat, from everything. We were always safe under these great trees. And one winter, some trees began to make fun of Snow, laughing at how graceful she looked when she fell to the ground. They asked Snow, "Snow, is anyone even afraid of you?" And they'd laugh really hard. And Snow said, "Well, I may be small, but I come in large numbers." And the trees laughed again. "Ooh, you're so scary." And Snow said, "Well, I could make it so cold." And the great trees said, "Look at our arms. We're so great. We're so tall. No one gets cold under our arms." And Snow said, "Well, I could make it so cold. All you trees would need shelter." And Snow got so hurt and upset that she was picking up to leave. And she said, "Pray for your weak ones, because when I come back, it's going to be so cold." And she left. And the mother tree heard what some of her children were doing, and she went up to them and she said, "I want you to go apologize to Snow, because what you done was wrong. You can't talk like that. That's not right." And the children were like, "Oh, Mom, it's just Snow. Don't worry about it." And the mother tree knew that her children weren't going to apologize, so she picked up her roots and she went far north. It took her so long to get there, and when she finally got there, she said, "Snow, I came to apologize." And Snow said, "Stop. It wasn't you that hurt me. It was your children that hurt me. I would rather hear sorry from them." And the mother tree knew she couldn't apologize anymore, so she was turning around to come home. And Snow said to the mother tree, "Pray for your saplings, because when I come back, it's going to be so cold that nothing will live. I promise you." And as the mother tree was coming home, she was so worried about all of her children, she knew she couldn't stretch her arms out far enough to protect every one of them. So she had prayed to the Creator. The Creator came forward and he said, "I can't help you because of what your children done. That was so wrong. That was so hurtful. But I could tell you one thing. You go home to where your children made fun of Snow and sacrifice your life and turn into a great blanket of moss and sit on the backs of your children facing north for when Snow comes. And when you see Snow coming, you cover up your children and you cover up the ground. You'll be rich with nutrients and you'll keep your children warm throughout this cold time." So she thanked the Creator and rushed all the way home and sacrificed her life. And every one of her children were crying, "Stop, please, please stop." And she wouldn't. And when she finished sacrificing her life and she was a great blanket of moss on the backs of her children, the Creator came down to the earth and he said to all the great trees, "Your mother sacrificed her life so that every one of you will be okay. I know all of you didn't tease Snow, but I must teach you all a lesson." And he took away their size and greatness. And he had told the trees that had made fun of Snow, "I want you to really think of how it is you can say sorry to Snow." So every year before winter, when the snow comes, some trees give up their life and their beauty, and that's why they lose their leaves just before Christmas. At the end.
Wow, it's a beautiful story. So can I ask you a bit more about the story? Is there a lesson to be learned? Obviously there's a lesson in there. How would you describe it if you were going to speak about that?
Teaching our children to talk nicely, treat one another well. Yeah.
Wonderful story, beautifully done. Now, I also wanted to ask you, you've also created a new book, another new book recently, entitled this Nanaimo coloring book, is it?
Yes, I just finished this Nanaimo coloring book. It's just coming out of press, and I will be starting another coloring book for Terry Mack, and it'll be in all the gift stores across Canada and on the ferries, hopefully.
And what kind of illustrations are in the coloring book?
It'll be my native artwork that will be in the coloring book.
Wonderful. And you are as well, I forgot to mention, you've been an artist for 25 years, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
but I converted my energy into writing now.
You've been writing. So can you show me some of these books? Let's just discuss some of these books. You've got quite a collection. You've written over 8 or 9 books, yeah?
9 books now.
9 books.
Yes, and they have been translated into French now, so they will be in the French immersion schools as well.
And you were just in the schools telling some of your stories, were you?
Yes, I was with the Children's Book Fest for the 2 weeks, so I was in the schools from Cooper to all the way up to Parksville.
And were
Bowser.
the children enjoying the stories?
It was absolutely amazing
Really?
experience. I loved it. I had so much fun. The children learned something. They're so open-minded and
so
thriving.
Out of your books, which ones, if you had to choose a couple that people should start with to buy, which ones would those be, maybe?
That would be the Sun and Moon story,
Sun and
if you
Moon?
like sappy stories.
Okay. And what's
And
that story about?
It's about, I always wondered why the sunrise was so beautiful and the sunset, so I decided to write my own version of it.
Well, that's wonderful. And what inspires you with your work? I mean, you just created a coloring book. You've created so many wonderful stories. What inspires you to continue writing? What do you love about writing?
I love looking at something and wondering why it's so beautiful. So I'll look at the characteristics of whatever it is, or I Google a lot of things. So I Google facts about something, and then I just mix the rest with imagination and come up with a beautiful story.
Yeah. Well, I love the stories that I've read so far. I really enjoy them. Now, what do you have any ideas for the future? Do you have any ideas that you're working on or other projects other than the coloring book?
After this coloring book, I'll be working on a series with Terry Mack, and I believe it will be called the Raven Tales series. Mm-hmm. And so once I crank this next coloring book out, we'll jump into that, and I have no idea what it entails, but I can't wait.
Well, let's just show the books to the camera, maybe some of the books. You can mention the titles, some of them.
Okay, there's the Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
Why Ravens and Wolves Hunt Together. Taking Care of Mother Earth, The Great Trade, and The Cedar Tree, the Heart of Our People.
Yeah, wonderful. Now, I also wanted to ask you we're going to start wrapping up soon, but I just wanted to ask you if you have any kind of last thoughts or words that you'd like to add or to encourage people to get out there and read your stories, or any other closing thoughts.
I'm just thankful that Nanaimo has embraced me as one of their writers. I was very fortunate to take place. I was a part of One Book, One Community on Gibberella Island, the BC Writers Federation. I got to talk there as well, and then the Children's Book Festival. I met so many great writers, and it was so much fun to educate the children. I'm thankful that I've been given all these opportunities.
Well, I'm also grateful that you stopped by today to share your story with us. That was wonderful, The Great Blanket of Moss. I'm encouraging everyone to get out and buy those books from Strong Nations Publishing. My guest today is Celestine Aleck. I'm going to pass it along now over to Matt Carter, who's going to have an interview next with Marty Steele, only on the show.
Awesome. Thank you very, very much, Kerilie, and thank you very much, Celestine, as well, for coming in and sharing your stories. Haichika to you, Haichika to our friends from Nanaimo. All right, very excited now over the music set and this big bank of keyboards to welcome back a gentleman who featured a number of times on a number of segments on Shaw TV, one of the city's most talented and versatile musicians, Marty Steele. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much for having me on.
Well, I'm also excited to have you on, too, because we have something in common in that we're both sports fans.
Yes,
so
we are.
Quick, give us your prediction on the Stanley Cup Finals here.
Well, I would love to see Ottawa get into the finals and bring home the Stanley Cup for Canada's 150th birthday.
Yeah, whoa,
that would be a great thing, wouldn't it?
Hear, hear.
But I hate to say this. They're a good team, and unless some miracle's happening, they're not quite at championship caliber yet. So, sorry, Matt. Ducks and Penguins in the finals.
All right. We will revisit that back here in a bit. But
okay, I hope I'm wrong,
Exactly.
but it's Ducks and Penguins in the finals. Okay.
Okay, all right, so let's talk about some music here a bit.
Yeah.
Now, there was a restaurant review in VIU's Navigator newspaper a little while ago, a place where actually you were playing, and the reviewer basically was amazed on how your repertoire had jazz blues, but also songs by Elvis, Lionel Richie, The Doors. So what is your first love of music?
I'm a slave to variety. I love all kinds of music. I love to play jazz, but that's not all I play. I like to play rock, but that's not all I play. I like a good, strong melody and a good, strong musical composition to the song. It can be simple, it can be complicated, and it's just a judgment call, okay? But I don't like to play one bag all the time. It gets boring, and I want to do something else.
Okay, variety, versatility.
Variety, versatility, that's the keynote. That's really, really important. I think that's what's missing a lot.
So you've become a very versatile musician in part because you're able to effectively play melody, comping, and also the bass line with your left hand.
That's
so
right.
Speak a little bit about that particular piano technique, how sort of you got inspired to learn to play bass to the left, chords and melody to the
I
right.
was inspired by watching Jimmy Smith, the late great organist. He was the pioneer of playing jazz, blues, and soul, playing the key bass on the Hammond B3. But I'm not an organist, I'm a piano player, keyboardist. And all I did was transfer his style of swing at a young age to the piano. And so the piano is great for percussion. I could kind of simulate his percussive style on a piano. But the thing about playing keyboard bass, which is really important, is that first and foremost, you're the bass player. You're not the keyboard player, you're the bass player. It's the most important sound in any band. Without a good bass player, you might as well not have a band. So I just practiced and practiced and practiced, and I've been doing it now. Next year will be 40 years doing it.
Nice. Great advice for younger musicians. And I want to be able to let people know where you can see you play. And I know you have an upcoming fundraiser show coming up at Cedar United Church, and that's a bit of a special venue for you.
It's a special venue. I'm one of 2 pianists over at Cedar United Church, and this is my way of saying thank you so much to the church. They're the most loyal bunch of following. You know, they live their life the right way. And I'm glad to be associated with Cedar United Church, and this is my way of paying it forward and paying it back as a sign of gratitude. So tickets are $15, and it's May 28th at 7 p.m. at Cedar United Church. 15 at the door. Show up, pay 15, and I promise you a whole variety of music, even a little classical. And it will not be boring, and all proceeds go to Cedar United Church.
Perfect. All right, great to hear about that. Marty, thank you so much for being here. Let's hear a song to give us a little example of what we're going to hear at the concert, a little song.
A little song.
Called Mookie's Blues?
Mookie's Blues. It's named after my cat.
I love it.
That used to be alive.
Take it away. Marty Steele on the show on Shaw TV.
Always such a joy to hear Marty Steele tickling the ivories. Today on our Seniors Connect segment, which focuses on the reduction of social isolation for older adults in Nanaimo, I'm here to talk about something that maybe many of you haven't seen for a while. With how many people out there are thinking, it's been a long time since I've had an opportunity to spend a lot of time with my doctor talking about my medical needs. Well, I'm here to tell you today about a wonderful new program in Nanaimo where pharmacies are stepping up and helping us reduce the amount of medication that many seniors are taking. My guest today is Mel Azcarraga from the Medicine Shop on Departure Bay Road. Welcome, Mel.
Okay, thank you, Jane, for coming, for having me here.
I'm so glad you could come. So tell me about what is the Pharmacy at Home program about?
Yeah, the Pharmacy at Home program is a program which is beyond prescription delivery. It is a program usually designed for patients who struggle managing their medications and have difficulty coming to the pharmacy.
Okay. Now I know you gave me a term a little while ago, and it's called polypharmacy. Yes. Can you explain and tell our viewers a little bit what that word means and why it's important?
Polypharmacy is, in layman's terms, simply patient taking too many medications. In senior community, nowadays, about 36% of seniors are taking 5 or more medications. 12% of those taking 5 or more medications have developed side effects and required medical attention.
So when you go to a senior's home and you go to do a medicine review, as I'm going to use the easier term,
yes.
What would that look like? What could I expect when you came into my home?
It's simply like doing decluttering. What we do when we go to the patient's home, we have to make sure that we gather information. As we gather information through medication review, we check all their medication, we give them information, what it's for, what are the side effects, then what to expect, the best time to take. And from then, we also include the medications, the non-prescription medications they're taking. From there, we assess what they're taking, and most of the time, we identify medications that they are not supposed to take.
So for example, you go in, you go with them, you check out the medicine cabinet, and you know they're taking these 5 prescription medications, but maybe there's 4 or 5 over-the-counter medications, cold prescriptions, maybe something for reflux or something that could have some interactions with the regular
drugs. Yes, we always
drugs.
assess for drug interactions. Okay. However, part of our program is also to make sure that any unused or expired medications are taken away. Oh, so I bring it back to the pharmacy for proper disposal.
Okay. So what other kind of services would could a senior enjoy in their home with the Pharmacy at Home program?
Yes, so first it is the pharmacist home visits. So me or my wife, we come to the patient's home.
So you yourself personally go to the home?
Yes,
okay, pretty cool.
Yes, and we manage the medication. We do medication review. During flu season, we give their flu shot or any vaccinations. We can arrange their medication if there's a need for us to do blister packaging or compliance packaging, that is to improve adherence to the medications they're taking. We also do prescription pickup and delivery, which I do it myself, so that way I would know what's in their home.
That's an amazing personal service. This day and age, it's hard to even imagine. I know also, Mel, that you are a very community-minded individual. And in addition to going to, oh, and by the way, this program is all free, right? The consultation.
No additional charge.
No additional costs other than the things that they're buying. You also wanted to give us a little heads up about an event that's coming up in July.
Yes, we're excited. We're going to have what we call a scooter rodeo. Okay. It's going to happen on Saturday of July the 15th, okay. And it's 1 to 5 p.m. at Bevan Park parking lot.
Okay.
And we have lots of fun We have scooter demonstration, scooter race, entertainment, games and prizes, and lots of fun for the whole family.
So we'll look forward to seeing you there at the Scooter Rodeo July 15th, and make sure you say hi to Mel the pharmacist. And now I'm going to throw it over to Brian Sugiyama, who's going to tell us about yummy barbecue.
Thanks, Jane. Summer barbecue and pig roast. Doesn't that sound great? A summer fling in the park. And this is primarily for the homeless and low-income families in the south end of Nanaimo, and actually sponsored by the Nob Hill Community Association. I've had with me one of the directors, Doug Hiltz. And Doug, tell us a little bit about what this event and where you came up with the idea for this is all about.
For this event, we did, last year we did a Christmas dinner for the homeless of the city of Nanaimo, and we asked the oldest homeless person what he would like to see done for the homeless people in the city of Nanaimo. He says, well, summertime I'm usually craving pork, and he goes, I haven't had a barbecue in years. So the wife and I talked it over, and we said, okay, you're definitely going to have a barbecue.
Okay, so this barbecue, date, June 24th?
Yes.
And the location?
The location is 200 Irwin Street, known as Deverell Park.
Okay, now, for people who know Nanaimo, it's a little bit of a stretch from Nob Hill over to Deverell, but you tell me there's no boundaries for the Nob Hill Community Association.
No.
And one of the things, and the reason we're talking about this right now, it's way off in June, but you're looking for volunteers, you're looking for more sponsors, some donations. What kind of things can people come up with for you?
Pasta salad, pop, so they have something to drink, coffee.
Okay, and you mentioned also that you're going to have a dessert table, so you're going to have everything that goes with a barbecue: cookies, cakes, bars.
Yes.
And a barbecue has entertainment.
Yes.
So, who have you got coming in?
So far, we have Paul Gogo. There's a jazz group coming in. There's numerous musicians coming.
Okay, I see that the Nanaimo Jazz Festival is one of your sponsors.
Yes.
Good. Now, one of the key sponsors, speaking of sponsors, is Skills in Nanaimo. And people don't know that that's a new, I guess, combative club that looks at physical literacy. And I have with us Rebecca Stevens. Tell us a little bit about this, why you wanted to get involved in this event.
Well, we are right downtown. We're at 109 Finlayson Street. So living and working in a community that is that close to the heart of Nanaimo, you get to see a lot of struggling people. Mm-hmm. We deal with families every day that are mainly lower income. Mm-hmm. And so it's important that we start helping these kids at a very young age. So I wanted to be involved in any way that I can to help the people in our community.
So I understand Skills in Nanaimo is providing the big
pig
that's going to be roasted.
Yeah, my husband Matt has organized that, and we will be there helping serve and just hanging out and meeting the people that we see on a daily basis.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm going to move down the line here, and one of the things, Doug, you mentioned is that this is also to provide a memorial for those who are victims of the whole fentanyl epidemic and overdose situation. And Nanaimo is one of those communities it's really affected.
Yes, Nanaimo is one of them. We're not just stopping with the overdoses from the city of Nanaimo. We've decided we're going to go around the world with this one. So it's going to be kind of big.
And certainly there's no shortage of people who've been affected by this.
No.
One of those, and someone who's come through at the other end, Nate Margerison, who's the director of your security for the event. Nate, can you tell us a little bit about, you've probably seen people who've been affected and some who have been lucky enough to not have an impact long term from this fentanyl issue.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people from my times, from my addiction on the streets, trying to get help and get through it. But the reality is there's not enough help out there. There's not enough actual help. There's a lot of two-step programs that do a certain amount of help. My first mentor, he passed away because of this epidemic that's going around. And that, again, is one of the biggest issues, that there's not enough help out there. People who are struggling with this.
Thanks for sharing that information. Doug, one of the, I guess the key things is to certainly acknowledge the issue, but also bring out those people who might have some of those issues, who are in need of, certainly a barbecue, but certainly some of the things like the basic necessities of backpacks, clothing, and some of the food staples. And so this barbecue is not just to have the event itself, but to give some people some things to take away from this?
Yes. The reason the backpacks is because a lot of the homeless people, everything they own will fit in a backpack, so they can take it with them wherever they go.
Okay. So for those of you who want to contribute, you can call the Nob Hill Community Association, and they have a phone number at their office. And can you give that to me, Doug?
Yes, that phone number is 250-755-1014.
And someone will pick that up or take your message and certainly get back to you about providing some help, whether it's volunteering, some goods to donate. Let's try to make that event June 24th. Let's all get out, contribute, and help our own community. Let's throw it over to Matt Carter.
Thank you very, very much, Brian, and thank you very much, the Nob Hill Community Association, again, for all the great work you guys do down in the South End. It doesn't matter, again, how tall or how small, a great barbecue, respect, love is always very valuable for any citizens in our community. All right, before we say our goodbyes and throw it over to Marty for one last song, since we talked about hockey a little while ago, now this show was recorded, so playoffs might be over by the time you watch this, but as of time right now, the Senators are currently up 5-0 on the Pittsburgh Penguins. 5-0. So I'm pledging if the Senators win the series, I will find a Senators jersey and wear one on the next program. You got that promise? Anyway, so right now we're going to say thanks to all of our guests and hardworking volunteers and staff in front of the cameras and behind the scenes. You can find more about Shaw TV on Facebook, facebook.com/The Show on Shaw. You can also find more information on the program on our Twitter page as well. It's for Central Vancouver Island. You can also check out the Shaw TV Nanaimo website as well, and YouTube has previous episodes and probably this episode on there as well. Hey, do you have an event, cause, demonstration, or issue or hockey team you'd like to bring to the show? We're asking for great Central Island guests, or drop a line to our executive producer, Kelly Robinson, kelly.robinson@sjrb.ca. And if you want to volunteer on the show, always looking for great volunteers to join our team, contact our volunteer coordinator, Melissa Hall, at melissa.hall@sjrb.ca. As promised, though, one more song before we go from Marty Steele. Great little song called It Seems a Little Strange. Thank you so much for watching the show here on Shaw TV.
I dedicate this little song to the Green Party in their never-ending quest to make this world a healthier place in which to live. It seems a little strange to me to find a change of scenery. The sand along the shore is suddenly no more. It's washed out to the sea. I'm feeling a little panicky because the time is passing rapidly. Life on the ocean floor is suddenly no more. I don't like what I see. The world is getting old and it needs some TLC. It's time to clean her up before we go. She used to be so beautiful, but now has gone to seed. We're running out of chances, don't you know? So if Mother Nature has her way, we might not see another day. Survival of the planet is just a fantasy. That's not very good to me. The world is getting old, it needs a lot of TLC. It's time to clean her up before we go. She used to be so beautiful, but now has gone to seed. We're running out of chances, don't you know? So if Mother Nature has her way, we'll never see another day. Survival of the planet is just a fantasy. It seems a little strange to me.